my baby loves me. Well, ain't nothing wrong with the long-haired music. Like Bach, Beethoven, and Bach. But I was raised with a guitar in my hand. And I was born to rock. Come on, everybody, and turn your head to the left. Come on, everybody, and turn your head to the right. Come on, everybody, take a real deep breath and repeat after me. Loving my baby, loving my baby, loving my baby, loving my...
Hey guys, so we're gonna do a quick video here. Gonna try and record this really quick. The kids and the missus are at the pool, and they decided to stay there a little bit longer. I just got home from work, so I thought I would do this quick video talking about Steve Carlson coming to town. Absolutely fantastic to meet Steve. It was great. It was really great. And I got a lot out of it. And it was good to see all the other folks. You know, not only had I met Steve Carlson for the first time, but I met Steve Bender for the first time, the Zonk Man, who I've been watching his videos for a while and commenting back and forth with him. He lives in North Carolina, and we've just never met up. There were two guys that I'd never met before, Art from North Carolina Vinyl Picker, and Kendall, which is a spin doctor in Vinyl Mayhem, or something like that. So we had a nice big meetup. Of course, Eric Weinbender came up to. There's Steve Carlson. There's Art, and there's Steve Bender. We're not audiophiles, so we don't need a fancy audio convention to get together. We just need Dave to like mildly threaten Steve Carlson to come down to North Carolina. And then we all show up at Noble Records and give all our money to Dillon. What a racket. Okay, so the first store was Noble Records. We met up there. I'm just gonna go from store to store, show you what I found. So first at Noble Records, and the new used arrivals. I'd actually seen this the last time I was in there, but I didn't get it. And so I was hoping it would be there this time, and sure enough it was. This is Gary Bartz. I picked up another Gary Bartz album recently and loved it, and so I figured this is probably in the same vein, right around the same years. This is 1973. Same section, Hawkwind. This is Hawkwind's third record, I believe. Yeah, third record. Again, another tough one to pronounce. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, latido. I'm all about getting all of the Hawkwind records up through I can't even remember the name of it, but somewhere around 75. I think that's my cutoff. Can't remember the name of that record. So I'm just missing a couple, Space Ritual, and then the one that I'm trying to think of that I can't remember the name of it. I'll probably put it in the whatever. All right, the next one was this one, Lee Morgan. This was posthumously released. It's his last official studio record on Blue Note. So I first heard Mark Lastman actually singing the praises of this record on Fred Putterman's late night live streams that he used to have. So this goes back maybe even a couple of years. But Mark was talking about how great this record was. And it's one that some people would overlooked or whatever. Well, there's hardly any jazz that anybody's overlooking these days, because this shot up in price compared to what it was. And I had almost acquired it for less. In fact, it was this very copy that didn't come to fruition. And instead, I had to buy it from Dillon. I'm happy to have it. It's a really good, a really nice copy in good shape. And then we were just wasting some more time waiting on Eric, or to give Eric some time or whatever, or just killing some time before lunch. And I don't know why, I just went through the country section, country bluegrass section. And I'm glad I did, because I found this. The Fields of November by Norman Blake. This is like an early one. This is on Flying Fish, but it was $7, so I grabbed it. And then this one was in there, and it's a beautiful copy of Merle Haggard and the Strangers, I'm a Lonesome Fugitive. This is like one of his better ones. I don't know the exact pressing on this yet. I haven't checked it. This is a good one. I know this record. I just never had it on vinyl. But then we went to Rock Store Barbecue in Stallings, North Carolina. This is an authentic North Carolina barbecue joint. For those of you that don't know what authentic North Carolina barbecue is, it is pulled pork. I just had to take Steve there while I was in town. He got all kinds of other culinary experiences with Dave, but since we were out where Noble Records is, and this barbecue place is not far from there, I decided to take him. Had a good time. There was a little bit of a record exchange outside after lunch. I felt bad because I didn't bring any VCLT. Steve Bender also brought something for me, which was very nice. I was not expecting that. And man, he knocks it out of the park. This is Caleb Caudle. Is a singer-songwriter, Americana, alt country, probably more Americana, if you will. He's actually out of Winston-Salem. And I'm aware of him. I have one of his records already, and I absolutely love it. It's an outstanding record, the other one that I have. And I haven't heard this one, but I'm looking forward to listening to it. I mean, that was an excellent pick. But anyway, Steve Carlson brought VCLT for lots of people, and he brought me a killer record that's very hard to find, actually. But I crazily actually already have it, and I found it. But it was not long after I'd started making videos, and Hannah talked about this record, and I couldn't believe when I found it at Lunchbox, like not that long after I'd seen her really talk about it. Close Lobsters, Foxhead Stalk This Land. And Steve found me a copy and was bringing it to me as a gift, but I already had it, and so I felt really, really bad. But I told him to pass it on to somebody else that might be into it. But while we were in Lunchbox, he snuck a purchase for me while we were there, and he got me Hemus Road by Fela Kuti and the Africa 70. This is one of the ones that I'm missing. And we all know there's a ton of Fela Kuti albums. I mean, I have about 8 of them already, and but there's a ton out there. So this was one that was towards the top of my list to get. Very nice of Steve to grab that for me. As I'd mentioned, Steve picked that up for me at Lunchbox. Well, that's where we went next. Lunchbox, I had a list of at least 4, maybe 5 records that I was going to grab. So I already knew that ahead of time. I got a lot of records here, guys. I went kind of crazy on the meetup day. But yeah, these are all new albums. This one, I went back and forth on whether I should get this because I already have it on vinyl. In its how it was released before, but this is the director's cut, The Complete Dirty South by the Drive-By Truckers. Now, this is my favorite Drive-By Truckers album, and this includes TBA by Jason Isbell, which is a great song that would show up on their rarities comp and not unreleased material, But basically what this is it's the album kind of slightly rearranged in some parts, and then 3 extra songs added in. So I think this was kind of the original track listing that got pared down. I don't know for sure. There's a booklet in here that'll tell me all about it. But anyway, this is an absolute classic. This one I had actually had waiting on me. I ordered it online. And this is called Animals by Kassa Overall. Now, I don't know how many albums this is for him. I saw his Tiny Desk concert a couple months ago, and it was really cool. And this record is fantastic. Now, this is, it's kind of hard to decide where it would be placed. Is it a jazz record or a hip hop record? He's a jazz musician. He's a drummer first, but he's also a beat maker, and I would say he brings hip hop to jazz more than jazz to hip hop. So he's not like sampling jazz like groups like Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and Diggable Planets and whatever. I mean, there's actual playing on here, and new beat making and jazz-ish kind of compositions. Jazz, no, not jazz-ish, jazz compositions on here. So it's, but I think it's great. Definitely more real, pure jazz than even like you would find on like a Roots record, right? This is really cool. So I'm excited about that. That's a new release, came out this year. Another new release this year is the new Wyoke. Wyoke, band originally out of Baltimore, Maryland, but now I think both members live in Durham. I know that Jen Wassner lives in Durham, North Carolina. This is actually really a collection of singles from the last 4 years that they've just culled together on one album. I'm a big fan when bands do that, because I don't buy a lot of 45s and 7 inches and singles or whatever. So I love when bands cull together those singles and put them on one record. And I'm a big Wyoke fan. I'll probably do a video about Wyoke maybe one day. How about that? But yeah, so grab that. Super excited about this record, which originally came out, I think it was 20 years ago, right? Madlib, Shades of Blue. This is the Blue Note Classic version. Stoked to have that on vinyl. Absolute classic record. And then this one I streamed a good bit last year, and I just had never picked up a vinyl copy of it, and decided to finally get it in these times, by Makaya McCraven. I'm already a big fan of, and already have a few of his records, so had to get this.
You can cry to your mama, but she don't want no drama. I've been washing on my karma, got me working like a farmer, trying to make my way back home. Maybe we could go back, trying to get back where the love is real.
Okay, so the last record store stop was Premium Sound, which is now has reopened. It closed for a little while. It's now reopened. It was always a favorite store of mine. After Dave really had introduced it to me the first time that he and I ever had a meetup, and Bill was in town. The first time I had ever met Bill in person. And we went to Premium Shop. It was at Tip Top Daily Market, and then Luke closed down for a little while, and now he's reopened and he's in a guitar shop, Gold Tone Workshop. But anyway, wasn't sure what I'm finding there, but I went straight to the funk and soul section, and I found a pretty good copy of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Black and Blue. This one's from '73. I had a Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes compilation best of, like, I've had since high school. I was like just obsessed with those songs and that comp. Wake Up Everybody is one of my favorite R&B and soul records. They were released from 1975, and I've just needed more of their stuff. And so I've seen this record plenty of times. It's just never been as in good a shape as this one. So yeah, grab that. Super cheap. Also, this is one I've been wanting for a while, and it got a recent reissue like within the last couple of years, maybe last year, maybe even the year before, but finally got Siamande. I believe that's how you say it. This is their band out of the UK. It's like funk and soul and reggae and jazz and Afrobeat kind of, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I know this is a fantastic record. I've streamed it before, so finally got that on vinyl. I had taken a couple of trades into Luke recently in the last 3 or 4 months. And when I was in there, he had some really good blues records that I just didn't get at the time. And I thought, well, I'll just come back and hopefully they'll be there. Some of those were gone, but there were still some left. Now, this is actually not a blues record as much as it's a reggae record. But I like Taj Mahal a lot. So I decided to take a flyer on it. It's the only one that I was kind of on the fence about grabbing on the whole day. But so I'm interested to hear this. I've never listened to it before because it was his reggae record, and I knew that. And but I just, I don't have a lot of reggae, but I like Taj Mahal, and so I thought I would give it a try. Now, I love Junior Wells, but I didn't know anything about this record. I never seen it before. I just, I don't have a huge knowledge for blues other than the musicians' names themselves and listening to compilations over the years and whatever. But obviously I love Hoodoo Man's Blues, that Junior Wells record. I have a reissue of it, but it's fantastic in the Chicago Blues Band. But this is Junior Wells Coming at You. And I wasn't sure about it. I don't know. It's on Vanguard. And then as I kept flipping through the blues section, there it was as a reissue. I believe on Kraft. So I was like, well, if Kraft's reissuing it, it's got to be fucking great. So I just grabbed the original pressing. Yeah. So looking forward to listening to that. And then I picked up this Johnny Taylor record, Raw Blues, from 1969 on Stax. And for those of you paying attention, you know how much I love my Stax records. Did a Stax Volt, video not that long ago. And showing my collection. So yeah, I was happy to find this. Johnny Taylor, 1969. I was kind of a little bit behind everybody. I was dragging my feet getting the premium sound. So Art and Kendall left not long after I got there. And then we decided to go, the rest of us, the 5 of us that remained, decided to go get a drink or two because Dave wouldn't let us over at his house. Because there's not any room, because it's full of records. There's nothing but records in there. Y'all don't know this, but he sits on top of his shelves. Like, he doesn't even have room for furniture. There's just nothing but records in his apartment. It's wild. So we went to a place called the Tipsy Burro, and the Tipsy Burro is owned by the same people that own the Thirsty Beaver. I'm going to put a picture of the Thirsty Beaver up here real quick because this place is classic. And it's kind of like been written about in national magazines because of what's happened to it. And it's kind of like a metaphor for development in this part of the world. And but anyway, yeah, and then some of you might know because Mick Jagger actually posted a picture being out front of it when the Rolling Stones were here last. But anyway, so we went to Tipsy Burro. It's a bigger place, a little bit more spread out. It's like a bar cantina, a really cool place. They play great music in there, has like a really good vibe. And we hung out there for like a couple of hours, and that was the best part of the day. Best part of the day. So I took you through all these fucking records, showing you records that I picked up when I could have just said, hey, we just had a really good time sitting there having, I had a few beers, shocker, and some chips and accoutrements, and you know, me and Eric Weinbender and Dave and Steve Carlson and Steve Bender, and we had a great time hanging out. It was a good group, and yeah, it was the best part of the day. So yeah, so absolutely a thrill to meet Steve Carlson. Unbelievable of him to drive down. Now granted, Dave threatened him multiple times. Dave has been messaging him like insane amounts, like telling him he has to come down, and like he's been calling him and leaving very strange messages on his voicemail. Patty's a little scared of Dave at this point, but I mean, but yet he still decided to come down. And I just think it was amazing that he drove down here just to hang out in Charlotte. But I think he had a great time, and I think it's a good city to visit, you know? It's not that bad. And I have a feeling we'll meet up with Steve again. I have a feeling he'll be back down this way again at some point. I really do. Maybe he'll go to Charleston and get some really good shrimp and grits instead of that stuff he's eating around the Midwest. Whatever. But anyway, that's it, guys. Bill is in town, so I'm going to be doing another video sooner than later. And I actually went to another record store. I actually went to another record store today just on a fucking fly. So I got some records to show from that. But anyway, oh my God, I got to quit doing this. I hope everybody's doing okay. All right, bye.
Digital gramophone makes no sense.